Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So, it's time to reassemble the chassis of the SNCF BB67000. Now, you remember in, I think it was video number 3, which I will link in the description box, when I dismantled this, I marked, looking at the model, B for brushes over here on the right side. Now that I'm reassembling, and the same here on this bogie, I may put a wee white dot under there to mark the non-insulated, meaning the pickup wheel. Then I did all my maintenance, I cleaned things, and I used my Lima E424 locomotive as a model. And I also had a look at my good old E656 locomotive, and note that we'll handle the E424 because it's smaller, it's simpler, it's not articulated. So in this case here, the brushes are on the left side. And this is a thing I always remember, because see this copper wire here, this wee copper wire, this is always picking up from the front of the bogie. Now, and I remember this from this locomotive here, which has got the same identical copper wire. And of course it makes sense, because this is one polarity and the other polarity is closer to the rear bogie. In the case of this locomotive, it had been dismantled by somebody and refitted the other way around. So of course the pickup bogie, the dummy bogie or pickup bogie, had the wheels inverted, of course, because otherwise it would have been a short circuit. So I had a good look at this one here, and of course everything is reinstated as it should be. In fact, if you remember, this contact here had been badly soldered. Now it's been resoldered by me, which my soldering is never really fantastic, but this one came quite well. This one was a bit more of a bugger, but anyway, they're okay. So let's reassemble the thing properly, ignoring of course these positions B for brushes, so I'll rub them off at the end. Right, so this one here, this goes, if I don't remember badly, we have to catch it. And maybe this was one of the reasons that this locomotive was it was pretty complicated to get things out. It was not very cooperative. So I'm going to get this thing in here. Now, a thing I always do, I like to do on these locomotives, is, I'm wondering another thing, this piece of glue here, maybe that's from the factory. It would make sense to not have bits of glue there that can soil. There we go. I want that to be smooth and things not to catch there, because this is the part where the bogie moves around and swivels, you see. Hope you can see well in my low-tech 40-watt bulb. So this is to go in here and sit in its cradle. Remember how to do this. Okay, we're going in. Right, oh, there it is. Now what I like to do is to always put some pencil lead here, some graphite, to make things swivel better, because this is a 8B old pencil stub. So what I do, I just colour this up with my soft black lead pencil. I put quite a lot there and here as well to allow the bogie to swivel, to slide well, because graphite is slippery. There's even spray, a lubricant spray. This is very soft and very slippery. Okay, so that's one. Then another point that I always like to lubricate is this one here. Okay, that's in. So I'm going to just jack this up on my rubber for the moment. There. And another point that I always put plenty of graphite on with pencil lead is here. This point here, because it leans on this. It swivels also here, so we'll just move that out of the road and we'll get that lubricated as well. A soft pencil, a very soft pencil. I can't remember what this one is. A 5B. This is the stub of a 5B. I just use it, I keep it for this kind of work. Okay, that's nice and lubricated. Okie doke, that's that done. Now, I'm just going to put the locomotive upside down in its cradle. And refit the, I'm not bothering with the cradle now. I have to fit the bogie. There we go. 1 and 2. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Let's just pick this up with our magnetic screwdriver. Okay, there's number 1. Hope I'm not covering things with my hands. And the other one. To get ourselves, okay, excuse me, made a mistake. I have to clip inside. It's not clipped in. Wait a minute. Before doing that, we'll just go and put plenty of pencil in here. I couldn't remember. And in there. Now this has to clip in. That's us. There we go. That's us. Perfect. We're in. That will slide nicely. And so there's the motor bogie fitted. No problem. Exactly as it should be. Now we'll fit the pickup bogie at the back. And even in this case here, you can see that there's a bit of drag under here, see? There's always some drag here. You can see some marks. So even in this case here, well, let's see, generally, I've never really ever bothered. Let's see what happens. This one swivels here, so we just give it a bit of pencil lead. Okay, perfect. Pop that in there through the hole. Right. And here's our contact. This goes straight in like that. Maybe if we use a pair of pliers to pull things up, might even be easier. There we go. That's us. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a thing. Because a little technical petroleum jelly grease is always handy. This is a contact, and this is an important contact. So what we want to do is, let's pull that off again. We'll just put a spot of technical petroleum jelly right there on here. Blob to increase conductivity right in there. Okay, so better. That's where we also stop it from rusting. Okay, that's us. That's very good. Now, we've done these things. I've got grease on my fingers, of course. What else? We can see if the thing works. So we'll just give it a tiny test, a very fast test. Let's, before testing, turn it upside down a minute and tighten these screws. Because that's, I've not really tightened them. The front bogie screws. 1 and 2. Okay, and now we'll just pop it on this length of rail here, knocking things over. Now I've even got a bit of test track out. Oh, it works. It works very well. Okay, right. We've seen that it works. That's it ready. And what we could do, if you have patience, 2 seconds, and we'll turn round and we'll go and put it on the track. Just let me get things plugged in. Oh, where's the thing, mate? The cables here, all sorts of stuff. Oh, where's my, here it is. Okay, we'll put some music in the meantime. Right, let's take our, we're going over to the layout right now. Okay, so here we go. We're at the layout. Here's our chassis. Now we're going to switch this on over there. Pico controller. I need to, just a second, I need to change glasses because I'm wearing the close-up ones and I get a sore head if I look through them. Okay, perfect. So here's our Kleinbahn locomotive coming along. Where the points are, it's coming straight at us, perfect. Now we can take that off the line. Okay, it's just hand of Patrick's Models and Rail Transport, and we'll open that set of points there. Okay, close them, and let's just put, I've not done any finishing anything now, we're just putting it on the line to see how it goes. Then I've cleaned the commutator and everything, I've done all these jobs. I'm actually going to run this thing in properly. Half an hour in each direction, I think, would be more than enough. And I'd say that's working very well. Let's change direction. There we are, the controller. Pardon me, I need two hands, two sets of hands to be able to operate the points. Okay, let's go over into the siding. Suppose you're interested in seeing what happens now. So we're going over the points. Good. Let's close these and let's go back over here. Oops, easy. It was a bit like all Limas. It needs a bit of a bit more power to start. But then you have to be quick on the very last version of the Lima G type motor, the Super Trazione. That's really very good. It's got lower gear ratio, so you can control it better at lower speed. I think this will, with its bodywork, will look very well. Typical diesel locomotive on a branch line. You know, if I'm much more for steam. I like steam more, but this is honestly. Okay, see if I'm trying to see if it passes under the camera without causing problems. Okay. Of course, to really put it through its paces at speed, we'll have to take the other layout out, the Brunel, which has been out since October, because then in November I started, beginning of October, then in November I started working on this one, and it's taken up most of my free time dedicated to railways. Working very well. Lovely smooth running. I didn't bother putting any lights on it, which, it's got no light fittings. If I wanted, I could even adapt GF lights to this, but you know what, the lights are a job for another day. Now we have to rebuild the locomotive. Working very well. I'm very pleased. Right, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm just going to catch this wire here under the piece of insulating tape again, and I hope you enjoyed the video, these videos, and if you like, give them a like, subscribe to the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and what else? Share the videos if you want to show somebody else how to deal with a Lima locomotive, and then of course I always enjoy reading your comments. Cheerio, and see you next time. Anyway, that was just a series of my way of doing jobs with Lima locomotives. Before I say cheerio and see you next time, so to recap that, it's generally technical petroleum jelly as a lubricant. I use lighter fluid as a degreaser, a cleaning agent, maybe a little bit of contact spray, then if necessary fiberglass pencil, spot of technical petroleum jelly on the pickups, on the drivetrain, so gear axles, gears, even if Lima's they declare that they don't really need to be lubricated instead. And then technical petroleum jelly doesn't spatter all over the place, and it sort of keeps the gears nice and moist and clean. And plus there's another thing, if you're not running Lima mechanisms on the floor in the dust, they are generally pretty, immune to dirt unless they've been running on a carpet. That was the case of the E424, that was full of lint. But for example, my E656, I never ran that on the floor. There was never any dust, and there were no carpets in my mother's, but for Christmas I was allowed to put the train set, the oval of rails, on the living room table, the dining room table, the living room, dining room, whatever, which was round and it opened into an oval, and I was running my train set on the table. So they're pretty dirt proof, let's say, because the gears are hidden in there, they're covered by the bogie frame, so they're not bad. GF have exposed gears. I'm talking about GF diesels. They have exposed gears, and exposed gears, especially the BB6700 chassis that the twin bogie drive, the 8-wheel drive version, one with a central motor, that I adapted, and I used that chassis for the to make my rail car, the freelance rail car, the What If Italian in concession railways rail car, which has actually got a BB6700 JUF chassis with the centrally mounted motor and a double drive, and the gears are much more open to dirt and dust under there. But we know that Limas are pretty bulletproof and simple machines. So before I say the final magic words, one last lap and see. Okay, cheerio and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.